Today, we're going to tackle a huge problem in the workplace, but from a totally different angle. We're going to talk about why burnout might have less to do with psychology and a whole lot more to do with a fundamental law of the universe.
Okay, let's start with a question I think we've all asked ourselves. Why is it that so many exciting, fast-moving startups eventually just slow down? They turn into these dull, bureaucratic machines. That initial spark, that energy, where does it all go?
Well, here's a wild thought. What if this isn't really a business problem at all? What if it's actually a physics problem? The argument here is that what we call culture rot is just another name for a universal force that governs everything.
So to really get our heads around this, we first have to look at how we usually get the diagnosis completely wrong.
The biggest mistake we make is treating burnout like it's some kind of personal flaw. We tell people, oh, you should do more yoga, or just take a vacation, or manage your stress better. But that totally misses the point. It's like trying to fix a leaky pipe by yelling at the water. Burnout is not a personal failure. It's a failure of the system that person is stuck in.
So, if the system is failing, what's the culprit? Well, this is where we need to stop thinking like psychologists and start thinking like physicists, because there's this powerful, universal force at play.
And that force is called entropy. It's the second law of thermodynamics. All it really means is that in any closed system, anything that's cut off from new energy, things naturally fall apart. Disorder, chaos, that's the default setting for the universe. Everything just trends towards chaos if you leave it alone.
And you see this everywhere, right? Your hot coffee doesn't magically get hotter, it cools down. Your tidy room doesn't stay tidy on its own, it gets messy. A fully charged battery, a perfect little closed system, will always lose its charge. That's just how things work.
Okay, so let's take this big cosmic law and apply it to your job. How does entropy show up at the office and lead to that feeling of complete and utter exhaustion we call burnout? Well, struggling companies, they act like closed systems. They shut themselves off from the outside world. They stop learning. They avoid healthy conflict because it's uncomfortable. They get stuck in old habits just because, hey, that's how we've always done things. All of this creates friction. And what does friction create in physics? Heat. In a company, that waste heat is burnout. The only alternative is to become an open system, one that's constantly fighting entropy by bringing in new energy, new ideas, and adapting to change.
So what does this friction actually look like day to day? Oh, you know what it looks like. It's that zombie project that everyone knows is a failure, but no one will kill. It's the pointless meeting that eats up an hour of everyone's time for absolutely no reason. It's the gossip, the politics, all that stuff that just sucks the life and energy out of a team. That's organizational entropy. That is waste heat, and it is burning people out.
So, if entropy is the disease, what's the cure? How do we stop this natural slide into total chaos and burnout? Well, we have to actively fight back. We have to open the system. And the force we use to fight back is called dharma. Now, in physics, the opposite of entropy is sometimes called negentropy, but dharma is a better word because it's not just about creating order. It's about creating order with purpose. It's the intentional act of injecting clarity and energy into the system. And if you're a leader, this is your number one job. And really, it all boils down to two things. Just two. First, you inject dharma. That means you bring clarity. You set a vision so clear that everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing. You make the tough calls that get the team unstuck, and you protect your people from nonsense so they can do real work. Second, you have to be ruthless about flushing out entropy. You are the person who kills the zombie project. You cancel the useless meeting. You shut down the toxic behavior. One adds energy, the other stops the leaks.
Okay, this all sounds good, but how do you actually start? Let's make this super practical. What can you do today?
So I want you to just pause for a second and really think about this. In your team, in your company, right now, what is the single biggest energy drain? What's that one process, that one project, that one recurring argument that creates the most friction? Get it in your head, be specific.
And here's the challenge. Don't try to fix everything at once. Just find that one thing, the one you just thought of, and kill it today. Cancel the meeting, end the project, have the conversation. That one action is how you start to reverse the flow. That's how you stop losing energy and start getting it back.
And that really leaves us with this final thought. We always think the cure for burnout is to take a vacation to escape the system. But the problem is, when you come back, the system is still leaky. The energy will just drain out again.
The real solution isn't to run away, it's to stay and fix the leaks. That's how you truly end burnout for good.